Hello, I'm Matt Ralph. I'm the editor of BrotherlyGame.com, and I'm joined here on Zoom with my Thad Bell. He's a colleague of mine at the Blue Testament, covering Sporting Kansas City. How you doing, Thad?
Oh, not too bad. You?
Oh, pretty good. We're kind of going through this tournament from home and following our teams that we cover. What have you made so far of the tournament and how Sporting Kansas City has performed and how they look heading into tonight's game against Philadelphia Union?
Well, I'll say I've liked the tournament, and I've liked it a lot more than I thought I would like it. But yeah, Sporting has been not not what they were the first two games of the year, but I think they're much of what they've been the last couple of years. Sometimes extremely good offensively, and sometimes a little questionable on defense. Um, Lido obviously has added another factor that they didn't have last year, but if they still have trouble breaking down a team that bunkers. We saw that with Minnesota early, and then Vancouver in the last game. And they're still susceptible to being countered under the right circumstances. So it, that's Sporting right now. They could be very, very good or give up something pretty easy.
These two teams have faced each other a lot. I mean, when I was watching the shootout the other night, I was having a hard time watching it, besides the fact that it was really late, but not thinking about the Open Cup, and you have Tim Melia there making saves. What have you made of kind of the competition between these two teams? And twice they went into Chester and beat the Union in a knockout cup. What have you made of that? And do you think it even matters at all at this point?
I think that part matters very little as far as like being you guys. No, and no offense, that's not demeaning to you guys. I think for a good chunk of the team, it doesn't matter. I mean, for me, if it gets to penalties, I think Sporting has the edge just because Melia is so damn good at it. I mean, your keeper is amazing, extremely good. Regulation time, I think, quite honestly, it's a toss-up. But if it goes to penalties, I think then it becomes more of a 60-40, 70-30 to Sporting kind of thing. The only penalties they've lost was when Melia wasn't in goal.
So in that sense, do you think if it gets late, they'll actually play for penalties, or?
I doubt it. Quite honestly, that's just not Vermees. You would think that would be he'd like play to that strength at that point.
Yeah.
But it's still a crapshoot. Even though I might say a 60-40 or 70-30 Sporting, it's still such a crapshoot when it gets to penalties. But the only penalties we've lost in the last few years is in Portland, and that was the double post shot from Saad Abdul Salam. Melia had been knocked out of the game because he got kneed in the head.
Oh, yeah.
Kicked in the head or kneed in the head, and it was John Kempen in goal. And he saved 2 or 3 of them himself. And it came down to him having to make the goal. It went full 11 rounds, and he had to shoot on goal, and he didn't. His was saved, and their keepers, I forget who it was, made theirs. So Sporting's good in penalties. I don't know why, but Melia's really good. They've had good goalkeeper coaches. I remember last year or the year before, Melia saved one in regulation time, a regular penalty kick. And I asked him after the game, I said, did you read something in how the guy was stepping up to take the shot? He goes, yes. I said, can you tell me what it was? No. I said, not even a hint? No. Okay. So he's got some Jedi mind trick or read the body language better than anybody else, apparently.
One of the things I think is an interesting take on this is, so as I mentioned, I'm originally from Olathe, Kansas. Your head coach is from New Jersey. So,
yeah.
Jim Curtin's a Philly guy going up against Vermees. I kind of asked him a little bit about that the other day. But one of the things that we're seeing on our end is just Jim Curtin is really an up-and-coming coach, right? He's established himself at this point, and he's already gotten Bruce Arena knocked out of the tournament. Now he's going up against Vermees, and I think from my perspective, like, it's just really kind of it's cool to see what Vermees has done for that team, right? And how because he is a guy from our area, we sort of root for him in that sense. We won't be rooting for him tonight, of course, but
understandable.
what do you make of just what he's done and how he's been able to kind of create a team with an identity that even coming off a disappointing season is still a team you can't overlook and you can't take for granted in a competition like this.
Yeah, and I don't know who it was that asked Curtin about it the other day, but he called Sporting the gold standard for consistency, and I agree with him. I do think there's some similarities in where Curtin's at right now. Like you could say that was kind of where Vermees was in about 2011, maybe 2010, 2010. I'll say 2010, 2011. Building a good team, getting that identity, on the cusp of winning stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where they're at. I think that's you guys. If you can maintain that progress, you got young guys coming up, all that stuff. I don't think I'm actually answering the question you asked, though. Sorry. Vermees, and I don't know if you've ever talked to him personally, but he is one of the strongest willed personality kind of guys you'll ever meet, right? And I think probably more than any other club of any other sport that I know a lot about, Sporting's DNA fingerprints Vermees has his fingerprints all over everything. Okay, from the academy to the first team, the second team, the training center, the other training center, every single thing he's got some aspect that he's decided, influenced, pushed. This place is Vermees from top to bottom.
We're kind of going through this process for the first time with Mark McKenzie and Brendan Aronson now getting a lot of attention. You've obviously been through this before. What's that process like in terms of covering when you start to hear of the interest? I mean, Juventus being interested in Busso and stuff. Like, how do you, as a covering a team or just even as a fan of a team, like kind of handle that those sort of things coming in and just the constant, like, I mean, we've been seeing a lot from the Scottish press about Mark McKenzie and now with Brendan and talking about Germany and everything. But what's that like? Because this is a new experience for us.
It is a little bit weird. And I don't know. I don't think there's ever a right way because obviously there's a little bit of press around the world that is more reliable than others. We've had rumors come out of England from some of the tabloids about this player or that player either coming or going. Johnny Russell wants to go home. Okay, yeah, because he told somebody that he would love to play for Celtic one day, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's just, I think for all of that, you got to take it as it comes, right? We're MLS. We're obviously not the top league in the world. There's only a couple leagues in the world that doesn't sell players because they have to, in my opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you could say really three that don't have to sell players at some point because they have to. We need to do it, and I think you guys will probably sell those two guys at some point. And good for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, Thad, I appreciate your time. It's great to connect with you. Do you have a score prediction for tonight?
1-1 goes to penalties.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with that. I keep thinking it's going to go to penalties, and maybe we'll the Union will figure out Melia this time. It'd be a good story for tomorrow's papers.
I will tell you, I have a little shame because from the 2015 Open Cup, one of you guys made a bet with me from Brotherly Game for scarves. Okay. I have 2 Philadelphia scarves sitting right over there.
Okay.
They got unpacked. Things are being rearranged, but they're sitting on a table or a chair right over there. I've got 2 Philadelphia scarves from that Open Cup game. So I almost brought one over to show you, but I forgot before we started this.